So, good morning, everyone, and welcome. My name is Jennifer, and I sell shoes, specifically sports shoes, or rather, the day-to-day activities that I do contribute to actually selling of shoes. Now, today I'm going to talk you through how we at ASICS set up a global cyber threat intelligence capability in the last year, and share some lessons learned along the way. Now, please be aware this presentation is TOP clear, so if you want to take photos, feel free to do so. Button doesn't work properly. There you go. Now, before I actually get into the content, let's set the scene a little bit. By 2023, ASICS had actually established already a global security office that focuses specifically to reduce the material impact due to a cyber event. And key focus areas were established, which were aligned with a specific roadmap and focused specifically on adaptive trust, risk management, and cyber defense. As part of the Cyber Defense Office, we were actually already performing several activities that were considered as cyber threat intelligence activities, such as we created a weekly newsletter in which we shared notable cybersecurity news. We provided input and feedback on, for example, critical vulnerabilities or zero-day vulnerabilities upon request from our brands or from our regions. And we added IOCs, indicators of compromise, to our SIEM solution when we came across them. But this was all ad hoc. However, we were aware of an increase in threats, such as, for example, attack groups that were specifically using malware to target the fashion industry. Or also rapid developments in new technologies, such as artificial intelligence and specifically generative artificial intelligence. Now, don't worry, this is not going to be an AI presentation, but I did need to mention it. And another threat that we became more and more aware of was that supply chain incidents were becoming more and more prevalent. So when I got proposed to set up a global cyber threat intelligence capability under the Cyber Defense Office, I was more than eager and specifically excited to set up that particular challenge. Now, let's do some introductions first, because when I say I, who do I mean then? Well, hi, my name is Jennifer Wennekers, and I've been active in the IT industry for the last 15 plus years, of which almost 10 years now dedicated in cybersecurity. Throughout my career, I've been focusing mostly on cyber defense, security operations, threat management, incident response, and now only on threat intelligence. I've been with ASICS since mid-2021, and I work currently as their global cyber threat intelligence lead at the ASICS Technology subsidiary. And a little bit about me personally, I am a self-proclaimed bookworm. I've read already, I think, 130 books this year, and I am also an information hoarder, which is probably the reason why I ended up in the CTI space. Now let's talk a little bit about ASICS. Why do we do what we do? Well, at ASICS, we believe in the power of movement to positively impact the minds. And that's why we really develop products to support more people to move and feel better. Our brand came to life in 1949, which was driven by the vision of uplifting the world through movement. Embracing the Kaizen philosophy of continuous improvement, our founder, Mr. Onitsuka, revolutionized sports footwear. And our commitment to uplifting minds through movement is reflected in our name, Anima sana in corpore sano, which means a sound mind in a sound body. Today, ASICS has grown into a global company with multiple offices and stores across the world, and our brands really empower people to move forward, no matter their sport or their lifestyle. And when I talk about our brands, I am talking specifically about ASICS, which is our technologically advanced footwear and apparel that really helps support people to move for body and for mind. But I'm also talking about Onitsuka Tiger, which is the original Japanese sports-inspired fashion brand. Another part of the ASICS family is Runkeeper, which is a GPS data-driven fitness app which helps people to track their workouts, follow a plan, set goals, and specifically stay motivated for movement, for exercise. And finally, as part of the ASICS family, is Race Roster, which is a platform for event organizers and athletes to really grow, manage, and execute on race day. Tying everything together is our One ASICS loyalty program, which seamlessly connects our brands and provides a smooth login experience in the ASICS ecosystem. Now, I'm telling you this because, for one, it's nice to introduce you to a company that I'm really happy to work for. But aside from that, it also provides an insight in what kind of industries we're actually active in. Because that's, for example, retail, that's fashion, product development, and also largely the digital space. And it's also highlighting the type of data that we have governance over. Now, we've come a long way since our humble beginnings in a small workshop in Kobe, Japan, but our mission remains the same: to uplift people through movement. And since 2015, ASICS Technology has been at the forefront of transforming our IT business and our landscape through to become a true omni-channel retailer. What began as an SAP FMS rollout project team developed into a global enterprise support department and actually is now established as a full company, ASICS Technology, which really supports people, supports ASICS to embrace a broader scope, to transform our business, integrate systems, and most importantly, enhance security. Our mission is to empower ASICS to enhance the world's mental well-being through movement and by unlocking business values through technology. So now that we set the scene a little bit and we have the introductions out of the way, I would like to quickly give you an overview of what I'll be talking about in the rest of the session. I'll continue to provide an insight of how we actually created our CTI capability, what lessons we learned along the way, as well as provide some insights in what we're going to do in the future. I'll do a wrap-up and a Q&A part if time allows. Please be aware I will be here around for the remainder of the conference, so if you still have questions that you would like to take off stage, feel free to tap me on the shoulder later on. Now let's dive into the creation of a capability. There you go. Animations, gotta love them. Now, CTI, Cyber Threat Intelligence, is actually a term that has been discussed quite a lot in the last few years. And specifically also in relation to the benefits that it can provide an organization. But not a lot of resources actually discuss how to set up a CTI capability. So when designing a vision for CTI at ASICS, I really wanted to stick to a simple truth by aligning it to 3 core values: why, how, and what. Starting with the why do we need a CTI capability? Well, we want to build a stronger defense and have a more rapid response to potential cyber threats. Simple, right? How do we do this? We evaluate threats based on our threat profile and risk appetite, and we provide actionable recommendations that are tailored to our stakeholders. What do we do to realize this? Well, we partner with trusted partners, provide fact-based deliverables, and align continuously with our business. Now, it is good to have your core values, but what does that actually translate in on a day-to-day basis? Well, in essence, we perform 4 main activities that are distributed over 3 intelligence levels. We have our strategical intelligence, which focuses on identifying the who and the why of a cyber threat. We have our operational intelligence, which focuses on the how and the where. And then we have our tactical intelligence, which focuses on identifying the what of a cyber threat. Starting with strategic intelligence, and specifically with the strategic level, we become aware of our threat landscape, which is comprised of both internal insights and external insights. This means that we become aware of the various industries that ASICS is active in, as well as the activities that we perform, the technology stack that we use, the adversaries that might be relevant to us, etc., etc. By having this knowledge, the CTI capability can actually inform the various ASICS roadmaps. And in addition to that, based on the insights that we've obtained and the community that we are a part of, we are actually able to benchmark ourselves also against our peer organizations as well as industry standards, really highlighting improvement areas for us and increasing our security standards. Now, on an operational level, because we are starting to gain more and more awareness of our threat landscape, we're actually also able to identify more relevant threat actors, and we can start identifying their modus operandi, so the way that they work. And this allows to learn more about their preferred tactics, techniques, and procedures, which feed again into our tactical level activities. Because when you know how relevant adversaries operate, we are actually able to identify to optimize your threat detection and response capabilities, as we know better what to defend yourself against. Now, intelligence that hasn't been through the entire cyber threat intelligence lifecycle is actually just data. And while yesterday was mentioned that the more data, the better, I do not fully agree with that when it actually comes to cyber threat intelligence. Because it needs to be analyzed, it needs to be processed, and it needs to be applicable to your organization. And you need to have actual recommendations and actionable outcomes. So, at the start of it all are your intelligence requirements. Now, the moment that you start talking about request for information, intelligence requirement, or prioritized intelligence requirement, definitions start to get a little bit blurry. Because almost every organization, and I'm specifically looking at vendors here, tend to have a different definition. So it's almost left up to the practitioner to actually come up with a way to structure your intelligence requirements, keep track of them, and also communicate back to them to your stakeholders. So that's exactly what we did. We figured out our own way. What you see on the screen is a filtered down and redacted version of the way that we at ASICS categorize our intelligence requirements. What you see specifically is their respective use cases, the way that they are mapped to stakeholders, the type of intelligence level that they are, and it really is just a way to keep track of them centralized. Is this perfect? No, absolutely not. I mean, no one really enjoys working in Excel. But is it good enough for a year one capability? Absolutely. Because, again, it allows you to really keep track of your intelligence requirements in a centralized manner, follow up on them, and communicate back to your stakeholders. Now, as our CTI capability will mature over the next few years, we might improve the way that we also keep track of our intelligence requirements. And who knows, maybe we actually will move away from this Excel sheet. But for now, as simple as it is, it works. So we have our intelligence requirements, we have our prioritized intelligence requirements, and based on that we can actually create some deliverables and some services and provide that back to the business. And we have currently 5 different types of categories of deliverables and services that we provide back to our business. First, we have our executive level critical risk briefings. And yes, I know it's an entire mouthful, but it does convey what we want to do with that. These briefings are meant for an executive level audience and really answer the question, what do we need to know about a specific topic of interest? And what do we need to do about it? The deliverables for this type of briefing are a record of existing countermeasures, a call to action for the relevant audience, as well as insights that drive further decision making. A executive who reads this report should really get the idea that A, the situation is in hand, and B, countermeasures are either identified or on the way, and that the business understands the problem, if there is any. Secondly, we provide incident response support. And this is really to provide the acting incident commander with the insights that they need to have to ensure that they can take better decisions in the heat of the moment when there is actually an immediate threat. This means that we provide insights and really test the intelligence during that specific moment of incident response. Thirdly, we provide zero-day and critical vulnerability action briefings, which is intended for our IT and security leads. And this is really to identify the question, do we need to prioritize patching? As you all know, almost every day there are news articles about this CVE or that CVE, which can be quite overwhelming for an IT lead. By having these specific type of briefings, we identify to them if there is a problem, and yes, this is what you need to do to prioritize patching now. So aside from the reports, we also deliver currently 2 services. We have an active deep dark web hunting service that aims to inform our security and IT leads on whether or not we are targeted by those with malicious intent. And the deliverable here is really to identify and collect evidence that informs on ASICS, ASICS response to malicious activities. And finally, we also provide a weekly security digest, which informs our employees, and yes, this is a company-wide service deliverable, that specifically informs what is going on in the cyberspace. It is low-key, very informal, but it does provide them with the need-to-know information, such as, for example, on incidents, cyber news, and also the most prevalent type of CVEs or weaknesses within our organization. Now, so far I've talked about the core values of our CTI capability, information requirements, and deliverables and services. But where do we actually get our information from? Well, from several trusted partners. We are actively engaged both on a personal and an organizational level in the CTI community. And we will pursue in 2025 an information sharing and analysis, ASIC in short, membership. Now, additionally, for information that is available on the open web, we have a threat intelligence platform that we use for our OSINT investigations. And for the deep and dark web information, we actually have a managed threat intelligence service. Now, it is good to have a base for a CTI capability in place with tools, processes, resources, and deliverables. But your success will be defined by your ability to interact with and manage your stakeholders. And this can be interesting and sometimes also quite challenging if you're working in a global organization that has to deal with differences in language, differences in culture, decision-making styles or communication styles, and even something as simple as time zones. Because the thing about CTI is that you want to bring your message across in a timely manner and also want it to have been taken action upon. Now, for me personally, this is one of the more complicated aspects of working in CTI, and especially in a global organization, but it's also the part that is the most rewarding for me, because you actually do get to see the hard work that happens mostly in the background come to fruition, because you actually get to see them take action upon it. The Japanese have a saying, and if there are any native Japanese speakers in the room, I do apologize for my pronunciation, Nana korobi ya oki, which means fall down 7 times, stand up 8. Which I personally interpret as, despite failure or an unexpected situation, you keep ongoing. And nearing the end of our year 1 of setting up a CTI capability, there are definitely lessons that we can learn from to increase the maturity of our CTI capability. So what are actually some of my personal lessons learned? And yes, some of them might be open doors, but that doesn't mean that they're not true. First and foremost, find your way to set up a CTI capability. Find out what works for you and for your organization. This means that you do need to keep on engaging with your stakeholders because they are the reason that you do what you do. Now, automation is an overhyped term, but it does really help when you're by yourself or working with an extremely small team. And I'll be honest, so does flexibility, especially because ad hoc things will pop up along the way. Say no to perfectionism. As we all know, it can lead to an increase in stress, reduced productivity, and in some cases even a burnout, which we definitely do not want. I'll be honest, this is something that I personally still struggle with. Might have to do with neurodiversity and perfectionism, but hey, it's something that you keep on learning from every day. Next is network. You might know a lot. You might be very experienced and you might be very creative, but that doesn't mean that you can't learn from your peers. They might have insights or experiences that you can actually use to implement and increase the maturity of your capability. If possible, find mentors. The CTI community is extremely open and is also full of people that are willing to help you further and learn. And last but not least, a mature CTI capability will not be built in one day or in 1 year. I know that. You guys probably also know that. Management might not know that. And that basically means that in some cases, if someone is sharing, for example, is someone, for example, sharing intelligence that they should not be sharing or they haven't involved you in, ensure that you just stay open, keep on communicating, and really just learn from that situation. So I've discussed what we've been working on so far and also what lessons we've learned along the way. What is next, actually? What is up for 2025, 2026? What you see on the screen is a capability overview that I've created to really help us visualize for the next 2 years. And some of the pieces are already in place, such as, for example, we work quite well together within the Cyber Defense Office, because that's where CTI falls under within ASICS. We already have some CTI inputs, such as, for example, the insights from partners. We do some OSINT. We have our deep and dark web monitoring. And we already provide some CTI output. However, for 2025, 2026, I really want to focus on increasing the integration with other capabilities, such as, for example, global risk and compliance, and then specifically risk management and security awareness. With regards to the actual capability, I want to focus on increasing the maturity of our threat intelligence platform. And that basically comes down to optimizing dashboards, optimizing our reports, to really ensure that we can process the proper amount of input and also get the right type of reporting to them. I have a timer on the screen. That's very interesting. Thank you. I'm going to speed up then a little bit, but last but certainly not least, I also want to increase the further alignment with our regions, with our brands, with our entities, to really ensure the distribution and adoption of regional threat intelligence, but also to ensure that we really work together to a global security goal, which is the reduction of probability of material impact due to a cyber event. Now, you've listened to me talking for quite a few minutes already, and thank you, by the way, for that. And as I was preparing this presentation, I was thinking, how do I want to wrap up? How do I want to finish? What do I want to give you back to take back home, to take back to your organizations? Maybe it's our core values. Maybe it is my top 3 of personal lessons learned. And actually, no. I want to leave with a quote from our founder. Mr. Onitsuka lived by the saying, if you start with something difficult, anything thereafter is possible. Through decades of innovation, he really transformed ASICS into a global company, inspiring thousands of people to move for body and for mind. It is our responsibility to help them to do so safely and securely, step by step. Thank you for your presence, thank you for your time, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much. So let's do one question. Is there somebody with a question? Oh, there's still somebody. And there, the woman with the curls. Oh, curly. That's good.
Hi, first of all, thank you for your presentation. I was wondering, how do you, in a global organization, deal with source bias? Because I notice a lot of sources are biased to either Western or either Asia or some sort. Do you have any way to deal with this, to cope with this?
So this is really because of the fact that we're still such a small capability. I mean, it's just me at the moment who is working full-time on CTI. This is where we actually just really have to trust our partners that we cooperate with. Is that a challenge, and is that a difficulty, and is that a risk? Yes, absolutely. But in the end, we do want to believe that they have some type of vetting process and ensure that they have the right type of neutral tone in the intelligence that they actually provide to us.
Yes. No. Yeah? Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.